everyone, and welcome to the third and last part of my, art collection. So the first video was about my colored pencil collection, and that was my oil-based and wax-based pencils. And the next one was my vintage coloring pencils. And today's final episode here is about my art supplies collection. And I want just to show you all of the other art supplies I have and that I use in my coloring books. So sit back, relax, enjoy the video, grab yourself a nice cup of coffee or a mug of tea, and let's get started with this one. So it's a bit difficult to find a place where to begin because I have so many, but let me start with some of the art supplies that I use the most. And these are my soft pastels. I have here the set from Faber-Castell, and I bought it so many years ago I really can't remember. It must be a couple of decades ago, I think. And these were the first ones I bought, and you can see that I haven't used them very much. And those I have used are mostly the green, because I like to use the soft pastels to create backgrounds. And I think I have also used, some of the blue ones. I like to use the soft pastels, as I said, to create backgrounds in my coloring books. And usually I create bluish backgrounds when I want a sort of sky background, or I use the green colors to create a sort of more leafy background, because I color a lot of motifs with plants and flowers. So the green and blue colors are, the ones I use the most, although I have also used some of the other colors. As I said, these I bought many, many years ago. And then last year I bought another set, also a 48 set. I mean, because there's nothing wrong with these from Faber-Castell. They are very, very good, and they are certainly pastels that endure. I won't use them up anytime soon, but I bought the Munguio Gallery Soft Pastels, the artist edition here, because I have heard a lot of good things about them, and especially their pigments, because there's nothing wrong with the Faber-Castell, but I really think that the colors are not that pigmented compared to when I use these. And that is why I prefer at the moment to use these soft pastels, because they are extremely pigmented. And yet again, you can see here that I use my light cobalt turquoise and, haven't used the helio turquoise a lot, but it's really these blue and green colors yet again that I use from this set. And you can see, it looks funny, because how does he use them? A lot of people make the mistake of just using them on the paper. But that leaves a lot of streaking, and sometimes you get a lot of pigment down, and perhaps you don't want to. So I always use my scissors to scrape off some of this, and then use a cotton pad to sort of mush it around the page to get a very soft background. You can add multiple layers if you want a much more color down. I have used this ochre, for example, quite a bit here, but I do like to using this process. I've learned it from Johanna Basford in one of her videos quite a few years ago, when she was new in her career. She made some small coloring tutorials on YouTube, and this trick with the soft pastels I learned from her, and I've used it ever since, and I have not regretted it. And this leads me to this art supply, my fixative, because every time I use the soft pastels, I use this fixative to spray on the page and then let it dry before I use anything else on that page. And I do this so the soft pastel won't rub off on the opposite page, and I don't get it on my hands and fingers when I continue coloring on the page with my coloring pencils. So a lot of people say you can also use hairspray, but I have heard that in some coloring books it gets yellow over time, and then you have this sort of yellow finish on your coloring page, and that is why I use a fixative that is, it's meant for these coloring pages. So that was my soft pastels and the fixative. Here, from my coloring book Seasons by Hannah Carlton, you can see a typical soft pastel background that I made. I used 3 different colors. I used a yellow one here because it was a light color I wanted to use for the middle. Then I used a deeper golden color and then orange here at the edges. And if you use, for example, watercolors, the colors would have been clearer and filled the page up and made it darker. But I do like these very soft coloring backgrounds using these soft pastels. I don't think that I have used them anywhere else in this book. No, that was watercolor. But you can see the difference between using watercolor and then using soft pastels. It's quite clear here. Another art supply that I have begun using in my coloring books are oil pastels, and I have 2 sets, the Artist Soft Oil Pastels from Munguyo, and then I have the Van Gogh. And I have a video up on my page on how to do oil pastels in coloring books, and I also have a comparison video where I compare these 2 oil pastel brands, and I do prefer the Van Gogh because they are softer and I think easier to use and to blend on the coloring pages than these from Munguyo. But you can see here they have many beautiful colors. They are not that easy to use like soft pastels. I find that using oil pastels in coloring books, you really have to protect your pages, not only the one you're working with, but the opposite page and the pages behind, because for some reason I always get oil pastel everywhere, even though I try to mask with tape and paper and so on. But the colors are really lovely. I like the colors in this set because we have a lot of pastel-like colors, certainly a huge amount of green and turquoise and blue colors, and those are the colors I really like the most, but also some very nice lavender and lilac colors, some very nice sunset-like colors here with the yellow, orange and red. And then for some reason we also have we only have 1 white here. This is a little pity that there's only 1 white in this, because I find that the white oil pastel you use a lot to try to blend into the other colors and to lighten the colors up. So I think it's a little bit sad that we only have 1 white pastel in this set. There are 60 oil pastels in the Van Gogh set from Royal Talents, whereas I only have 48 in the Munguyo set. But this leaves room for quite a few more colors and also 2 white. I have here the normal white, and then I also have a pearlescent white. So this gives me a lot more opportunity to use the white ones. I also have a colorless oil pastel here. This I can use to blend the oil pastels together. Then I also have, as far as I remember, we have some warm grays, but I do have some, I have a silver and a light gold and a deep gold. So I do have some metallic colors in this one if I wanted to use it. A nice selection of the different colors, not a lot of blue colors, but quite a few green and especially a lot of brown and ochre tones here in this set. So really nice selection also. I don't use it that much in my coloring books, so I think that I will prefer using this also on some paper and then create some of my own. But really nice oil pastels nevertheless. So speaking of these oil pastels, I just wanted to show you some of the things that I have used them for. I used them for this page. I have mostly used them in this book, and here you can see what I meant, that if you don't secure the pages, then it really just rubs off. And this one, because when you use oil pastels, you also have to use a sort of varnish to fixate the oil pastels here. And I used the Van Gogh on this page, also used varnish, and here on this page in the back of the book I also use oil pastels. And you can see I have used different varnishes. I used the satin glazing liquid from Golden for this page. This gives it a matte finish, so you can still, feel the page, but it really does lock this oil pastel in so it doesn't rub off. All of this was in the process of trying to get the oil pastel down on this page. And you can also see that it did some damage on the page behind, even though I had tried to secure it, and this page also. So every time I've used oil pastels, I have had 2 or 3 other pages ruined, except for this one. I only had a little accident here with the paper, because I have tried to protect it with some tape. It burst and broke here when I tried to remove it. Here another, that was a soft pastel background. But here on this page and on this page, I used my preferred method to fixate these oil pastels, and this is my varnish for oil pastels by Royal Talents. And this one is really easy to apply, and also it gives it a shiny sort of finish, so you can really see the oil pastels. It also makes it a smoother surface when you use it, and that is why I prefer this varnish over this satin glazing liquid. I'm not even sure why people use it, because it's slow drying extender for acrylic colors, so it's not really meant for oil pastels. I mean, it does give it a layer so it doesn't rub off after, but this is really meant for when you use acrylic paint. And I have also heard it, you can blend it with acrylic colors, and you can also use it for wet blending. And I have heard that you can use it to do a page like this with this first, and then use watercolors on it to protect the paper better for bleed through, so it doesn't bleed through. I have actually considered trying in a coloring page to cover it with this, let it dry, and then use the Ecoline brush markers on it to try it out. But I think I will have to do a test run first. But you can see here what you can use oil pastels for in your coloring books. Whoops, that was not it. Here also, and the varnish on top of it. Then I bought these Ecoline brush pens, and these are some watercolor brush pens. I haven't used them a lot because I have to use them on special paper, or I would have to prep the pages a lot before I use this, because this really bleeds through the paper in an amount you wouldn't believe. I know that J.I. Colorist, she has used them, getting some of the color out and then thinning it with water, and then she has used it in coloring books in a very thin layer. I do think it's a little bit of a difficult process, so I haven't dared venture into this one. But I would like to use them, and I have now acquired some watercolor paper. So I can't really wait to use these on watercolor paper instead of in my coloring books, because I think that they will work a lot better on that watercolor paper. But you can see here a lot of really, really nice colors, a nice selection of colors. And you have a blender also here, plus a metallic. I can see we have a, this looks like a gold. Deboker. Looks like a gold, but it is deboker. So, but a nice selection of colors, and I think I will begin using them more on this watercolor paper that I have bought. Not a buy I regret, because the colors, when you use them, I have tried them out on some cardboard where it didn't bleed that much through, and the colors are really, really lovely. The Bambino coloring crayons. These are clay crayons, and they were extremely popular a couple of years ago during, I think it was COVID. I remember seeing them in Johanna Basford and on her YouTube channel, where she did a tutorial with these and recommended them. And I thought, they looked very nice, and I bought them. And then, of course, it happened. They ended up at the bottom of the shelf. I put a lot of things on top of them, and then I completely forgot them. And then I rediscovered them when I cleaned up my shelf here a couple of months ago. And they have just been sitting on my shelf. So I really want to begin coloring with them. These coloring crayons are sharpenable. That means that you can sharpen them with a pencil sharpener and then get them really nice and crisp again. I have did a little Google research, and they are currently unavailable and on Amazon UK, and they don't know if they will be back in stock. I'm not quite sure that they produce these anymore, but I have them and I must begin using them. Then I have all of my different sort of Posca pens and well, markers and all these things. Well, not real markers. I don't have alcohol markers, not yet anyway. These are from Moby, and I have them in two different sizes, a thicker size and a thinner size. And I bought them because they should be an alternative to Posca pens, and I tried them out. I actually tried them out in season. I want to show you the page I used them on. It was for a double page spread in this book here, where I also used a lot of Derwent Inktense. It's mostly Derwent Inktense. And then I wanted to use them here, you know, for the edges. And I had to shake them all the time compared to my Posca pens. And it was really difficult to get them started. So I kind of regret having bought these Moby colors, because they are not the same as the Posca pens. And speaking of Posca pens, I have them here in this jar, and you can see I have a very nice selection of them. I also have my Sharpie creative markers, some acrylic markers here. It's a set of, I think it was 12 colors, but the rest of this is Posca pens. I have some glittery ones, and then I have in different sizes. I especially like to use the little size PC1MR to, you know, do the line out work in coloring books. So I try to have them in different colors, and then you can see I have a lot of white, because white is the Posca pen that I use the most. But I have also recently just ordered some black Posca pens, because I have an idea for a new video, and I will probably use black Posca pens in that, but more about that later. But Posca pens, they are certainly amazing to use in both coloring books and other artwork. Glitter gel pens. Boy, do I have a selection of glitter, because I really like to add a little bit of glitter here and there for my coloring pages. The super golden markers. I will not open this one because I have already opened and showed it to you in, I think it was an art haul video in the winter or in the autumn. I can't remember. But you can see here, that was just a little fine liner. But here you can see them beautiful, beautiful colors. The thing about these super golden markers is that they are absolutely wonderful in the colors when they work, because you have to really try hard to activate them. You have to shake them a lot for several minutes and have to, you know, try to activate them several times before the color comes out. And when they have been left for a while, then you have to do it all over again to activate them. I will have to say that once activated, they are just so beautiful in the colors. This page I did in the winter. All of these stars here was made with the super golden markers, and you can see, boy, they are really, especially the gold and the yellow, filled with a sparkle and a really beautiful gold tone. I mean, the gold in the Posca gold, it's really dark compared to this. Also, the blue ones I used. Beautiful, beautiful colors. Then my favorite, of course, the Pencil Sparkle Pop, for that extra glitter feeling in these different colors. And it's funny about these colors, because when I use The purple here, it has sort of a blue shine, and the blue one has sort of a green shine, and the green one, well, it has sort of a bluish purple shine to it. The pink is really just pink, and the orange, and the gold, well, you can see this is my second, and I use the gold a lot, and a silver here. And also I have the Pentel Dual Metallic Hybrid, and they are also just really, really wonderful and rich in the color. I really like these gel pens. I also have a Staedtler Metallic Marker Gold, and I can't remember if I have a silver. If I do, I certainly don't use it a lot. I think gold a lot more. But anyway, these are the ones from China, and you can see I have them here in both pastel colors and neon colors and metallic colors. Huge set. I do think that these also, because I have here the Sakura Jelly Rolls, the Moonlight and Stardust, and the metallic. And I think the metallics perhaps in 2 sets. Yeah, I have them in jewels here. They are really nice when they work, but it also takes a while to make them work, all of these gel pens. At least these ones, and also the Sakura. As you can see, when I try to use them, hope you can see it, you just really have to get them going before the color really flows when it's these neon colors, the Moonlight. And here I have a metallic, and you can see I haven't used this, and you can see it's completely full. So I have found out that if I do this for, well, a little while, then they get reactivated, and then I can begin using them. But it's a bit annoying that you have to reactivate them every single time you want to use these. I have one of the Stardust here. And then you have to, so you have to do it with all of them. And especially the Moonlight, I have found that sometimes when you use them, you can see here, then the color stops flowing. And sometimes it's when it dries, you can't really see the color. It's sort of watery. So it takes some time to get the real color flowing, so that it will cover, for example, black lines in a coloring book. Let me show you an example of this, because I used those neon colors in my Berättelser from Atlantis, Tales from Atlantis, for a page I didn't do a tutorial about, but here. This one with all of these jellyfishes, and I wanted to cover all of the black lines in all of these little jellyfish and the big ones, and also the bubbles. So I had to use practically every of these Moonlight, and it took forever, especially the green one, to make it work. I think you can see that sometimes it covers and sometimes it doesn't, and the color sort of changes. You can clearly see the black lines here because it was very watery. And it took a long time for it to begin covering the black lines. So when they work, and you can get them to work, and they can cover these black lines, they are really wonderful to use, but it does take some work to color with these sort of gel pens. I also have a metallic pen here, a set from Sky Glory. Haven't used them yet. And then I have the glitter markers from Ohuhu, and I have not used those, but I have very high expectations for these because it is Ohuhu. So these should be really, really glittery and shiny, I hope, and perhaps not that difficult to activate. So a lot of glitter markers and glitter gel pens here. My Coloria nylon brushes in all of the different colors. The big set. Have not begun using them because I simply have not had the time. Again, oh, that was just Tiger. Too many art supplies and too little time using them. And together with the pastel set of 24 colors. But I am waiting to try them out, and I think I will try them out in some of my Coloria coloring books, because I am also planning to begin coloring in those. my Derwent Inktense Paint Pan Pocket Set Palette. So here I have some Inktense paint in very small set, a paint pan pocket set with a little sponge here and also a water brush. I have not had the time either to try them out, but you know, I have the Derwent Inktense pencils, so the colors are the same. I know them, so that is why I have not begun coloring this with this one. But here we have the Pastel Shades paint pan set from Derwent. Oh, unfortunately, I've had a bit of an accident with the red one. But this one I plan in the near future to try out, perhaps in one of my upcoming videos. Can't wait to try this one out. Beautiful colors. My Arttex set here, acrylic marker set. This is the 60 pastel set. Wonderful colors. I have just tried it out the other day in a coloring book where I needed to use a little bit of some acrylic. And you can see here, oh wow, this red one. Some of them flows a little bit better than the others. I have had one of the pinks one. It wasn't very good in the beginning. But you can see some of them have extremely high pigmentation and it just flows out. I think it also depends on the surface, because I did have some issues with it in my coloring book because I tried them out on top of some coloring pencil where I had used oil-based coloring pencil I had used. So they didn't work that much. I had to give them several layers before they really covered. But beautiful colors. And I also have the normal 60 set with, well, normal, you know, normal colors, and then with the neon colors and the metallic colors and a white and a black. I have not tried these out, but I will begin using these acrylic markers more, because when they get going, they are actually quite easy to use and they give a lot of beautiful color in your coloring books. So why not use them? Watercolors. As you can see here, I have lined out the art supplies I use when I use my watercolors. And of course, this is my brushes. I have a lot of brushes in different sorts and sizes. Most of them are from Winsor & Newton, the Cutman series, and also the Professional Watercolor series from Winsor & Newton. And then I have some other cheaper pencils that I use for some of the groundwork, if you can say that, some of the hard work. Also, when we talk about watercolors, I have the liquid masking film from Talent and the Winsor & Newton art masking fluid. And these I have just made a video about. Perhaps you have seen it. It was the latest episode in my tips and tricks for beginner colorists. And in that video, I show you exactly how you use this masking fluid when you work with watercolors in coloring books. And P.S. this one is the best of the two. So apart from the brushes and the masking film, then I of course have the watercolors. And here I have my Winsor & Newton watercolors, and then I have a couple of Van Gogh watercolors. So I haven't, you know, bought a complete big set. You can see I have room for plenty of other colors. I have preferred to, I bought this palette, the tin palette here from AliExpress in China. And then I have filled it with watercolors myself. So I have bought the colors that I want to use. And instead of ending up with a set consisting of a lot of colors that I would never use. So all of these colors I have bought with the intent of these are the colors I want to use in my coloring books, because these are the colors I use the most. And you can see I've used the pink and red colors quite a bit, and also the blue colors. Still need to work with the yellow and orange colors for a beautiful sunset. And here I have my Arteza glittery watercolors. This is a set. We have also a brush pen here, and I also have different sorts of brush pens that I use when I do my watercolors. And of course, right now I can't find them. Oh, there it was. I have different sorts. I have from Derwent, and I have this from Sakura, and I think this one is the one that works, well, the best. The ones from Sakura. I especially use this one a lot. It has really the right size for my work. But and these glittery watercolors, they are really shiny and so beautiful. And I have swatched them on the black background so you can see the shine much better than if it was on white paper. But this buys, I think, one of the best I have done yet. Then I have also got a, this is a cheaper one. This was just a palette filled with some of these metallic colors, because if you want to, you know, use them, then it's nice to have them in a bigger size. And then, of course, I have these handmade watercolors. This is from SKR Art Garden, and this is a green set, well, mostly green set. This is a sort of a pearly whitish green color, but the rest of them are green or gold green, like this one. Absolutely beautiful. And also from SKR Art Garden, a gold set with a lot of different gold colors, and then this one, which is a rosa gold color, not one you find in the normal sets. And I have here from Liquid Sky a pink set, pink purple set. I bought these tiny sets because I thought it would be nice to have if you wanted to color flowers or add something to the flowers. Then pink would be a safe bet, as well as the gold and the green. And then of course also the other colors that I use a lot, the blue colors. And these are so very shiny and beautiful, especially this one. And this one over here. So beautiful. Good for mermaid. When you color mermaids. So watercolors, and I have, of course, a couple of drawings that I would like to show you where I have used watercolors. This one, which is available on my channel, I use the blue watercolors to create the blue background before I colored this bluebird and the rest of the drawing. And not in this book. And also here, this is from my newest video, Tips and Tricks for Beginner Colorists, where I colored this background with the seahorse. And I did it after I had done this page, because this one I did ages ago. And you can see that you can, if you really protect the page behind, you can use watercolor even if you have drawn and colored on the page behind, but I wouldn't recommend it. I would always recommend using watercolors on a page where you haven't done the other side yet, just in case of any bleed through. So please protect your coloring pages before you use watercolors in them. Washi tape. And washi tape comes in many different sizes and designs. We have one with leaves here, with the lemons. You can see a lot of flower motifs. And here we have the star signs from the night sky. And you can get tons of different designs from the Washi tape shop and a lot of different places. I bought these from a Danish web page, but you can buy them almost everywhere. And you can use them to create borders in your coloring books. You can use smaller pieces of them to fill out different motifs in your coloring books. And you can also use them for pages like this. In Johanna Basford books, she has a lot of different pages with these single motifs. And I used washi tape here to create these square backgrounds for each of these castles. And I have a video of it. I think it's one of my first color and chat videos where I showed you how to use this. I'll try to link it up in the upper right hand corner. And you can know pages like this. You can see I haven't colored this one yet, but here washi tape is an excellent opportunity to both use it as a border, but also to divide the page in, and then you can, you know, have the same background here and here and here, or each motif can have its own background. You can also make it a circular background, but I think that when they are placed like this and you haven't got that much of a space between, then a thin washi tape would create beautiful square rooms here for the motifs, and then you can color the background, and then you can do it with you know, different colors. Here I use the same color for these 4, and the other 5s had another color for the background. So washi tape is a wonderful supply to use in your coloring books. Another thing that's useful in your coloring books is ink. And here I have a little Winsor & Newton ink. You can see here that it's separated because you always have, when you use inks, to shake them a lot to mix all of the pigments and the fluids. And then you can see it turns into a wonderful gold glitter ink. And then you can use it with a brush to splash little dots around in a, for example, a watercolor background. Well, I can imagine using this in a Carlson book. And from this little ink to some of my favorite supplies, which I haven't really used this year yet. Again, I have so many different coloring supplies, and if they are at the back of the shelf, I sort of forget that they are there, and then I forget to use them. But you can see this is a selection of all of my acrylic inks from Amsterdam. I have them in many different colors, and I have had videos where I have swatched them and shown you these. Some of my art haul videos and other videos where on the completed pages videos where I showed drawings that I have made with this. We have a bronze here. This one is so beautiful. This is the copper, such a wonderful reddish color. I have this is the light gold. You can see it's almost yellow. And here we have the deep gold. And a silver. I'll have to shake them because they have also not been used for a while. So I'll have to shake them to mix all of the pigments. But my favorites are these, the pearl colors. I have the pearl white and yellow and red and blue, green and purple. But the pearl white is just absolutely beautiful. And then, of course, I also have a titanium white because you always have to have a real white. But I can show you some of the things I have done with these acrylic inks. And these are very good to use on larger motifs here. You can see this shell was colored with the pearl green. Hope you can see the mother of pearl shine from it. Here I used the pearl violet. Or is it called purple? I think it's called pearl purple. So you don't have to use them for smaller details. You can also use them for larger areas, like this one where I used the pearl white and the violet for this shell on the snail, and here again the pearl green for this shell. And they are very, very easy to use in your coloring books. You just have to know about these, that you cannot reactivate them. Once you have applied it, that's it. So be sure to apply it where you want it and not everywhere else. Some very useful art supplies that you simply cannot be without. The pencil sharpener, this one, very small and looks insignificant, but this is brilliant for Prismacolor pencils. It really sharpens them without breaking the tips. And especially this goes for when the Prismacolors get smaller in the length. When they are new and unused, I can use my Dali 133 and it works brilliantly. But as soon as they get to a certain length, then the tip begin breaking, and then this I have found is the best pencil sharpener for Prismacolors. And then something that I'm really, really fond of, my rather new Derwent electric sharpener. Unfortunately, it doesn't have enough room for this, so I have to empty it quite often. I can't sharpen that many pencils before I have to empty it, but this is really, really good, and especially good at blending the thicker pencils, or the pencils with the thicker barrel. Absolutely brilliant. Then the pencil blenders from Caran and Prismacolor, and also this one. This is the full blender, also from Caran. I also have a Derwent blender pencil. I can't find it. I must have used it for something else. I find that the Derwent blender pencil is quite scratchy on most paper and with most pencils, but I like the Prismacolor and especially the Caran. I find that the Caran pencil blender and the full blender are the very best blender pencils I have, so they are my favorites. I also have a Derwent burnisher pencil. I have only used it for the video I made a few weeks ago in my tips and tricks for beginner colorists, where I had an episode about blending and burnishing. So I used it there to show that you can use a burnisher pencil, but usually I burnish using the colors themselves. So I don't normally use it. But the blender pencils are quite indispensable when you are coloring. You can simply not be without them. White gouache, I have it here in 2 different sets, and this is very good. I have used it, and I will show you a page in a minute, because this, of course, has a link to the acrylic paint that I also use in my coloring books. White gouache is really good at removing things from coloring pages when you want to alter them. That means when I want to change the motif into something else. And yes, you heard me correct. I have a page here in Magical Worlds. I have posted it in a couple of groups on Facebook, but before I show you this page, I will show you something else. If you have been on my channel for quite a while, then you will recognize this one from I think it was my summer art haul from last year, the Shuttle Art 30 acrylic paint, and it's the pastel shades. And I have finally had the opportunity to use this one in a coloring book. These are the brushes in the set. And you can see here lots and lots of beautiful, beautiful pastel colors. Like this one, the lavender light. We have a sky blue. We have a yellow green, which I have used. And also the tender yellow and soft peach, rose, and so on. So I could go on. So we have all of these beautiful, beautiful pastel colors. And I can really recommend using acrylic paint in your coloring books, because they work really, really nice. Let me show you. This is a page I haven't shown you yet. It will be in my next completed pages video, but you will get a little sneak peek of this page. You can see here I have used the paint to create the sky, the clouds, and then add a lot of different eggs on this Easter page. And the gouache was made to transform, because this was one of the 2, this double page spread with the dragons. This used to be a dragon, but I used the white gouache to remove a lot of the dragon, to alter its head, its ears, its body, and to remove some of the dragon's body, which was over here, and especially down here with the rest of its tail. It's completely gone. So if you have your own copy of Magical Worlds, take a look at this page and then compare it to mine. This is quite the transformation you can use the white gouache for, and together with the acrylic paint. But I'm not done with acrylic paint. This is also a set of acrylic paints I showed you in my summer art haul last year. Iridescent acrylic paint from a buyer, 18 colors, and these are really, really shiny. And they come in different colors like the blue, violet, flash, but we also have darker colors. We also have a pearl pink, but as I said, we also have darker colors, and here you can see the black flash. So the black, and we also have a brown flash here. So from light to dark colors, yellow, green flash. And I have used this paint a couple of times in my Hannah Carlson Seasons coloring book. In Seasons, I have 2 pages. This one was colored with this acrylic paint. This is one of the autumn pages, and I use some of the green and yellow green flash to create the background. It's a different sort of background than when you use watercolors, because the watercolors are easier to add a lot of water and then they can just blend into each other. It's also easier with coloring pencils, but when you have acrylic paint, it's a bit different. But you can see, I really hope you can see the shine. And then I, of course, made a lot of dots to create a sort of bouquet acrylic paint background for this page. My Magical Dawn coloring book. This page, I used the black flash acrylic paint to color the entire background, and then I used coloring pencils for these butterflies. And you can see here what a beautiful shine. The background gets when you use this acrylic paint. And you can also see on the page behind, well, this was colored after, but you can see it doesn't curl or wrinkle like with the watercolors. Acrylic paint adds a beautiful finish to your coloring pages, and it doesn't ruin the pages at all. Just be sure to put some paper, behind. And it's also not that messy compared to oil pastels, for example. So I really, really like using these acrylic paints in my coloring books. I am just not that good at doing it regularly, but I will try to do so in the future. Also, I have here this set, and I have not dared to use it. It's acrylic iridescence, and they are these beautiful colors, but they are so small. They are from Holbein, and I bought it on, I think it was Amazon Japan, sometime last year, and I haven't used it because it's so small, and I am a little bit afraid of, getting too much color out, and then I won't use it, and then it will be a waste, because this was quite expensive, for an 8 set of this size. There isn't a lot of paint in this. This is a Chroma Pearl Blue, but I am thinking about trying them out in my Magical Dawn, which is my bling book. Well, sort of. I use a lot of different glitter and stuff on the pages in that book. And last but certainly not least, speaking about glitter and shine, my Stickles. So this is my selection of Stickles. I do have some duplicates. I can only buy them in the United States, and it's not really on Amazon. I have tried, but every time I try to buy one of those, sets, then they say they can't ship to my country. So a couple of years ago, I bought all of these in very different colors. I have a couple of reds, cranberry, and Christmas red. Then I have several green colors, like the, green, and also the holly, and garden state. I have a turquoise here, cool mint. I have a pink one, hibiscus. I have the sunburst, and of course I also have a sunflower. I have some blue ones like Pacific Coast and True Blue. Also have the ice blue and the grapefruit. And then I have a lot of these different sorts of white, stardust and crystal, glisten, unicorn, and also diamond, and then black diamond, and also a silver. So I am pretty covered, and this was because I had to pay taxes and tariffs and stuff to get them. So I ordered 2 rounds of these, so I think that I am covered for quite a while. And I have found out that sometimes it's really difficult to get it out of the little opening. So I have here a needle, and this needle I simply use to stick down and, you know, give it a little shove, and then I can get the glitter glue out, because Stickles is a very glittery glitter glue. But a needle is perfect when you want to get your Stickles out of this little opening here. In beautiful colors, and this is very good to add details to your coloring pages. I use it a lot when I color fairies for the fairy wings. I do think that, well, of course you can color them transparent and all that, or in different colors, but I like the shine and sparkle from the Stickles on the fairy wings. I think it gives it an extra touch, and sometimes I use it for other things, but mostly this. I have not experienced this drying out at all, and of course I do hope that this will last me for a long time yet, because as I said, I can only get this from the United States. And with the rising tariffs and all that, it will be a lot more difficult for me to get a hold of, because I would have to pay a lot of money for it than I have already done. So Stickles it is. So am I done getting some more art supplies to my collection? And of course usage. No, I don't have any alcohol markers. So you can see I have a lot of different art supplies in watercolor, acrylic paint, and Posca pens and glitter gel pens and so on, but I don't have any alcohol markers. I only know really of Tombow and Ohuhu, and unfortunately Ohuhu don't really ship their products to Europe anymore. Well, I have certainly tried on Amazon Germany to get a hold on these perhaps absolutely amazing Honolulu markers. Well, a lot of people praise them, so I thought that perhaps they are good, but they don't sell them and they don't get them to the warehouse in Europe, so I can't really get a hold of them, and I think it would be much more expensive to buy them from the United States, and several of the places where I can buy them, they don't ship to Europe, and especially not as the circumstances are right now with the tariffs war and everything. So I will have to wait for acquiring some of these alcohol markers. I don't know that many brands. Perhaps there are other brands out there which are much better than Ohuhu, or easier to get a hold of. If you are an expert on alcohol markers, write it down in the comments. Which brands do you use, and why, and where can I get them when I'm based here in Europe? I would really like to hear from you with this. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please give it a like, a thumbs up. It really does help my channel. And if you're new here and just happen to stumble upon this video, check out the playlist also on my channel and consider subscribing. Upcoming videos: a long-awaited translated flip-through of yet another Japanese coloring book. Which one? You will have to wait and see. Also upcoming, a new color and chat featuring Hannah Carlson and the book Tales from Atlantis. Remember that you can support me on KOFI, and if you donate a small amount, then I can save up to some new coloring pencils, the Caran d'Ache Pablo pencils, for use on my channel. Every little bit helps, and I'm grateful for everyone who supports me. You can also purchase my coloring charts and color family charts on KOFI, and it's way cheaper than buying stuff on Etsy, I might add. Well, Have a very lovely day, and until I see you in the next video, take care of yourself. Happy coloring. Bye.